Hi, this is Jim Wright, and in this lesson we'll get into Tool Command Language, or TCL, and how it's used inside of PostBuilder. Our lesson plan is to cover some beginning TCL commands and syntax. We'll get into TCL logic just a little bit. We'll also show how TCL is used inside of PostBuilder. Finally, we'll address mom versus mom. What is TCL? Well, TCL stands for Tool Command Language. It is a higher level language that was developed by a man named John Ousterhout. TCL is somewhat unique in that it doesn't require a compiler, so that you can build it yourself. TCL is also free, so there's no fee or purchase requirement. The language structure is similar to C, so that if you've done any programming in C, then TCL will be very similar to you. And finally, it's supported by enthusiasts who love to create code, and that's why it's available for free. TK is the graphical toolkit that comes along with TCL. It is used to create graphic entities like dialogues. More information is available at the website shown on the screen. How does TCL work with PostBuilder? Well, TCL is the engine behind the Manufacturing Output Manager, or MOM for short, for both NX and CAM Express. So that if you're outputting anything from NX or CAM Express, you're using the Manufacturing Output Manager. And if you're using the Manufacturing Output Manager, you're also using TCL. We will talk about some beginning TCL commands and syntax in this lesson, but I wanted to briefly address a couple of things. A variable in PostBuilder will be listed with lowercase mom, underscore, and then the variable name. An example I've shown here is mom toolname. Now, what is a variable? Well, a variable is like your phone number on your cell phone. The phone number is not you, but when somebody calls that number, they get to talk to you. A variable holds information. In the case of a phone, a variable allows you to contact the person you want to call. In the case of PostBuilder, a variable allows you to use the information that's stored by that variable. There are also several commands that we will use today. Set command allows you to set a variable to a given value. The global command tells TCL to go and search for this variable and get the value of it and return it back to me. Uppercase MOM is a command that we've built specifically for PostBuilder. So the difference between uppercase MOM and lowercase MOM is that uppercase MOM is a command, lowercase MOM is a variable. We'll also look at the format statement. Finally, some syntax. We will be creating a custom command, but if you were in native TCL language, they would call this a procedure, or a proc for short. We'll also be getting the value of a variable by placing the $ in front of the variable name. Finally, we will use the # or hashtag, and that indicates that everything following is a comment. So in our first scenario, we want to output the words new operation as a message at the beginning of each operation. So in our first scenario, we want to output the words new operation in all caps as a message at the beginning of each operation. Let's get started. So we begin our TCL coding with some very simple, easy steps, and as we go, we'll continue to build more and more complexity to our code. So we said that our goal here is to add new operation at the beginning of each operation. So a logical place to start that would be at the beginning of each operation. So I click on Operation Start Sequence, and the start of path is where I want this new information to be listed. I come over here to the drop-down box for new information, and I want to add a custom command. Now a custom command in PostBuilder is the same thing as a proc or procedure in TCL. Let me show you what I mean. I'm going to grab this add block and I'll drag it down to just in front of the start of operation. PostBuilder creates a new dialog with custom command in it, but if you look very closely, you'll see that there is a text shell that is placed around this custom command. First there's the identifier proc, P-R-O-C, PB, short for PostBuilder, command, and then the name of the custom command, followed by an open and closed curly brace, and then another open brace, and then the command is closed by another curly brace at the end. Let's give this operation a name. I'll call it tool operation information. Now when you're using TCL, the pound sign is a comment. So anything that follows the pound sign is a comment, and it's always a good idea to add some commentary data to your custom command. So this particular custom command is going to identify that this is a new operation. So I'll simply say that. Then on the next line, I'm going to use one of my custom PostBuilder commands called mom output literal. Mom output literal does just that. It literally outputs whatever you type. Space is a delimiter in TCL, so I put a space to indicate that I'm going to a new argument, or in this case the first argument for this command, and I want it to put in everything within these double quotes. I type new operation, all in caps, and that will be output at the beginning of this operation. I choose OK. Save the file. Now we can test the file in NX. Choose OK. Notice that now I have the words new operation at the beginning of each operation. However, I do see some problems. First, this is not listed in the message style that we need. Also, line numbers are being output on the new operation line, which makes it more difficult to see my new operation information. First, we'll fix the line numbers. Then, we'll go back and fix the second part of it. However, there are some changes I need to make, which brings us to scenario 2. In PostBuilder, we have a command to turn off line numbers. It's called mom set sequence off. So I'll grab that from the list. There it is at the top. And you'll notice that if you read the command name, generally it gives you an idea of what the command does. In this case, it turns line numbers or sequence numbers off. So I'll add this block right before my custom command, but I also want to have line numbers on for the rest of the program. So I'll choose mom set sequence on, and place it directly after the custom command. I could also type these commands inside of my existing custom command. Either way would work. Let's test that. Now I have the identifier without the line number in front of it. For the second part, I need to explain a little bit about postbuilder and control in, control out codes. Under NC data definitions, other data elements, there are message start and message end control codes. These are used for the different controls that need to have a message output. The default here is for left parentheses or right parentheses, but there are several options you can choose from depending on the controller type that you're using and how it's set up for that particular machine. There is also a variable for that particular code. It's called mom sys control in, but I want to use this as an opportunity to use the Explorer to find it. Utilities, browse mom variables, let's type in message as our search string, and I can see that there are several commands and some variables that are designed to work with messages. Remember, MOM uppercase indicates that it's a command. MOM lowercase indicates that it's a variable. There are two variables here that I want to look at. Mom sys control in and mom sys control out. Control out passes the control of the NC program to the text string. Control in hands it back to the control for more movement of the machine tool. Now I can return to Program and Toolpath and modify my custom command. First, I have to tell postbuilder that I will be using these two new variables. The global command tells postbuilder to go and look for these variables and find where they are at. Notice that I can use more than one variable per line with the global command. Next, I will put the value of those variables at the beginning and at the end of my mom output literal statement. To get the value of a variable, we use the $sign. $, mom sys control out space, that's our delimiter, $, mom sys control in. Choose OK. Save the post. Now I have my operation surrounded by the parentheses that are required by my control. In postbuilder, if I were to go back to NC data definitions, other data elements, I could then change these parameters to anything I want, and they would immediately update. That's the value of knowing what the variables are, instead of hand coding in just a left or right parentheses. One more thing before I leave this. Mom sys control in and mom sys control out are very long variable names. If I have to type them a number of times, I could make a mistake when typing. So sometimes what I will do in a situation like this is I will create a new variable, and then I will set the value of that new variable to the old variable name. Let me demonstrate. I will use the TCL set command to set a new variable that I call CO to the value of mom sys control out. I'll do the same thing for mom sys control in. I'll call that CI. The value of now I can eliminate this really long variable name. This is especially useful if you're typing in this variable a lot. In scenario 2, we'll change the word new operation to the actual name of the operation itself by grabbing the value of the variable that holds the operation name. We'll also add control in and control out codes so that we're surrounding the message with the message characters. Now, before I leave this, I would like to have the actual operation name rather than just new operation. The real operation name is listed in the operation navigator to the left. In PostBuilder, I'll browse the mom variables for operations. Notice there's a variable called mom operation name, which returns the value of the current operation. Copy that. Program in Toolpath. Edit my custom command. Under Global, I will add my new mom variable. I will also add it here. Remember, I have to add a $sign to the front to get the value of the variable. Okay? Now the actual name of the operation is being output. In our final scenario, we'll add the tool name and diameter at the beginning of each operation. Open the custom command for editing. Click on Utilities, browse MOM variables, type in tool in the search string. There are lots of variables that contain information about tools. There's MOM tool name, the name of the current tool. And MOM tool diameter, which is the diameter of the tool, but it only works for mill, drill, barrel, and T-cutters. Many of the variables that you see on this list will only apply to one type of tool or another. Some apply to turning tools, some apply to cutting tools. First, the name of the tool. Then the diameter. Don't forget the $sign. We have a problem. The diameter value is unformatted, and so it goes all the way to the end of the string for that particular value. We can fix that using the TCL command called format. Use square braces to indicate a new command being used within an existing command. Left square brace, format statement. I'll use the delimiter %, 3 values to the left of the decimal place, 3 values to the right, floating. Oh, almost forgot. right square brace to close off the opening square brace over here. Congratulations! If you followed along with me, you've created your first TCL coding and output information about the tool and the operation in a working post. To summarize, you learned how to create beginning TCL commands and syntax. We talked a little bit about TCL logic and how it works. We also use TCL in PostBuilder with some of the PostBuilder specific commands like mom output literal. Finally, we talked about uppercase MOM versus lowercase MOM. As a reminder, uppercase MOM is a command or proc. Lowercase MOM indicates that that is a variable. Thanks for viewing. Our next lesson we will dive more deeply into TCL.